Salvation International Preparatory School. Salvation International Preparatory School. A place to be, a school to go. We'll build you up from the cradle to university. Salvation International Preparatory School. Salvation International Preparatory School. A place to be, a school to go. We'll build you up from the cradle to university.
We have a new topic, and the topic is ledger entry. Can we all say that?
Ledger entry.
One more time.
Ledger entry.
Now, before we go into today's lesson, I just want to do a quick recap on our previous lesson that talks about journal. Journal is the business, accounting activities where you record all your transactions in a month. Take, for example, in the month of April, if you have series of transactions, you document them. That main documentary is the one we call a journal. And from your journal, you transfer the information into your ledger entry. So what is a ledger? A ledger is a book of accounts that is used to record business financial transaction into the debit and the credit. I'll take that again. A ledger is a book of account that is used to record business transaction into the debit and credit. So that is a ledger. Now, in your ledger entry, one thing you ought to know is that ledger is that book of accounts that follow the principles of double entry. So can we all say that? The principles of
double entry.
Now, when we say double entry, it simply means that whatever thing you do to your debit side of your account, you replicate the same on on the credit side. So, in other words, all credit entry must have a debit entry, or all debit entry must also have a corresponding credit entry. So that's the first rule of your ledger entry. Now let's look at the format. How does a ledger looks like? Now, in accounting, you have this. You have your debit and your credit. Then in between, there are a series of information that should be there. There should be a dividing line that separates your credit side from So this is your ledger. So you have a date, you have particulars, then you have your folio, then amount. So these are the details of every ledger. So every ledger have a date, particular, folio, and amount on the debit side. So the same information is also contained on the credit side. So it follows suit. You have your dates, your particulars, folio, amount. So this is a sample of what a ledger looks like. So it has two sides, debit and credit side. Remember, it follows the principles of double entry. So when you are given an information to translate it or to post into the ledger, any information you put on your debit side, you also replicate the same on this side. Now let's look at the division of a ledger. Ledger, as we know, is divided into two. So you have your ledger, So you have your personal and impersonal. So these are the two divisions of what? Of ledger. Can we all say that? Personal ledger, personal ledger,
Personal ledger.
and impersonal ledger.
And impersonal ledger.
Now, when we say personal ledger, it's a business documentary that carries the name of an individual. A business documentary that carries what? The name
Of an individual.
Say for instance, if the person's name is Festus, and you have a transaction with Festus, you are going to use Festus when you open your ledger as what? As the name of the ledger for that transaction. Or if it is not an individual, let's say you have a business transaction with an organization. An organization, you use the name of the organization to work, to document your ledger information whenever you are asked to work to do that. That's for what? Personal ledger. Therefore, impersonal ledger, you have a transaction that has to do with the tangible asset of your business. Say for example, you purchase an equipment. That is something you can see. We call it what? A real ledger, and it falls within the classification of what? Impersonal ledger. Then another instance is when you have a business transaction that has to document your gains, your profits. We call it what? A nominal ledger, and that is under the classification of what? Impersonal ledger. So that's how ledger is divided. So as a business person, you should be conscious of your ledger entry to know the type of ledger to open for your daily business activity. Now let's move on. Let's have an example to see how is this ledger entry done. So example 1. Cash sales. ₦5,000 on 1st of May 2020. Now, this information alone is what? It's an extract from your journal, your daily business activity. So say for instance, you are asked to what? To post this into the ledger. Now, we said that every ledger, in every ledger entry, you're doing what? Double what? Entry. So, for this instance, we are going to open 2 accounts. What are the accounts we are opening?
Debits and credits.
What are the accounts we are opening?
Debits and credits.
Now, so this is how it is that. So, for your ledger entry, you are going to open 2 accounts here. We have cash here, and you also have what?
Savings.
Now, the 2 accounts, one will be debited, while the other one will be what?
Credited.
Now, cash information, what does it do to a business? It brings money, right?
Yes.
So when you open your cash account, you are going to debit what? That amount to reflect on the debit side, because cash sales what? Brings money into the what? Into the business. So we open our ledger. So we have solution. First of all, you state what you want to do. So you are going to debit cash account. Then you credit sales account. So that's the first step to begin with. So you're now going to the posting proper. You open your ledger as stated. This is your cash account, your credit side, your debit side. Now, this information on the board is an information that brings money to the business. Knowing that we are opening 2 accounts for one transaction, we begin with what? With the cash what? Accounts. And since this information is bringing money, we are going to what? Post it on the debit side of what? The cash account. Why do we have to post the cash information on the debit side of cash account? Yes?
Because the person giving the organization the money is being debited.
On the account of the money that was received. Okay, so we are posting it on the double side. That's very correct. Can you give her a round of applause? It's on the debit side because somebody else is debited on the account of the money that you are receiving. So that's why we have to put it there. So you come with the date. The date is what? 1st of May 2025. What's the information? We have sales. Then the amount is what? 5,000 naira. So you have done the first part of your documentary. Now, you cannot end this transaction like this because in ledger entry, you must follow what? The double entry rules and the double principles of what? Of accounting. And ledger is one account that usually sticks to that rules of double entry. So you open the next account, which is what? Sales account. So you have your credit side and your debit side. Now, for placing your cash sales on the debit side, you are going to replicate the same on your sales account, but you are transferring it to the what? To the credit side. Now, placing it on the credit side does not mean that you're spending money. You are only doing it to complete the double entry principles that follows what? Ledger entry. So you take the same date, 1st of May 2025. You have cash, then the amount is what? 5,000 naira. So with this, you have completed the principles of what? Double entry. You can see that just one information, we have to open two accounts to reflect that information. And this is what we mean by what? Double entry and posting of sales information from your journal into your ledger. Do we understand it now?
Yes.
Do we understand it now?
Yes.
As a parent, I have always asked, how can I prepare my children for the infrastructural development and socio-economic evolution of the next decade? With the ongoing speed of globalization, how can I position my children to perform excellently in a rapidly changing society? The answer is and has always been to give them a solid foundation, academically, spiritually, and morally. Salvation International Preparatory Schools, with her team of highly qualified tutors, conducive environment for learning, state-of-the-art computer and science laboratories coupled with quality day and boarding facilities, is the place to be. For more information, contact 080-233-76135. SIPS remains the birthplace of leaders.
Salvation International Preparatory School. Salvation International Preparatory School. A place